This is the Hollywood Outsider, a weekly entertainment podcast where this week we are looking at upcoming releases including Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2 and Silver Linings Playbook. We're going to have spoiler-free reviews of Wreck-It Ralph and Man with the Iron Fist. Our From the Outside In topic this week is what dormant franchise should be brought back, as well as our top picks for the holiday season. We're going to have the latest movie and TV news as usual, our own trivia and flashback DVD segments, including those that guessed last week What's This Movie correctly. And we're going to try a new segment out called Recasting the Classics, so listen up for that. My name is Aaron Peterson. With me today are my fellow hosts, Scott Clark.
Did you just tell everybody to pay attention?
Yep. Get in line, kids. Class is starting.
1, 2, 3, eyes on me.
Justin McCumber.
What's up, Typhoid Mary?
What's going on? And Brian Williams.
Hey, what's up, Aaron?
Not much. I have a little bit of a cold if you haven't noticed, so if my voice seems a little more bellowy than usual, that's what it is.
And if I'm not recording next week, you'll know why.
Yeah, because we're going to make out in a minute.
Because he stuck his tongue down your throat and got you all sick.
Yep. That's how
I got you.
It happens.
We just assume that happens anyway. But
hey, if anybody hasn't heard, we've got a new president. He looks a lot like the old president, though.
What did the Who say? Welcome to the new boss. Same as the old boss.
Yep. It's funny. I went to bed and basically Republicans controlled the House, Democrats controlled the Senate, and Obama was president. I woke up, same thing. Nothing changed.
Just a lot of Facebook posts by angry people.
Oh my God, people went crazy. Just angry people. It's all our president at this point, all right? He doesn't hate us all. He doesn't hate one side, and he's not like at some point going to put us all in concentration camps.
After he's taken your guns, of course.
Exactly. And your freedoms.
Right.
And giving you cheese.
Cheese?
Cheese. Yes, they give away cheese in socialist countries.
Oh.
Blocks of cheese.
Well, they do that here, too. It's government.
You know why? Socialist countries. That's why.
Yep.
But in happier news, because we don't like to talk politics, because that turns off, 50% of your audience, allegedly, or something. The podcast awards, please, if you can, vote for us until November 15th. You can vote once a day. Go to podcastawards.com, go to Best Movies and Film, and you'll find the Hollywood Outsider right there, and just click us and go. We'd appreciate it. Let's start with movie news, guys. Roberto Orci. Did I say that? Orci? I don't know.
I don't care. That was actually funny.
Confirms he... Roberto Orci confirms he is working on a Lock and Key trilogy based on the comic by Joe Hill, who is Stephen King's son, for those that don't know. The TV version of the story of the series fell through. The story is about... Justin?
Well, fuck, you sounded like you were handling that pretty well, given everything I was going to talk about. So why don't you just keep on going?
I don't honestly know.
Mr. Spoiler McSpoiler person?
I don't know what it's about.
Yeah, apparently. For those who don't know, Joe Hill, who, as Aaron already said, is Stephen King's son, he's a novelist as well as a comic book writer. One of his books, called Horns, is due to be a film coming out soon with Harry Potter in the lead role there, a.k.a. Daniel Radcliffe. But the comic book series that he works on is called Lock and Key. It comes out from IDW Press. And the comic book is about this house in a New England area. You could probably figure it for Maine, and that would be fine. But the house is called the Lock Manor. Now I'm kind of forgetting. But the whole story is about that this house has doors that when you go through them can sometimes do strange things. And there's also these keys that each key does a different thing. And depending on how you use it, you'll get these results. And there's a character who is trying to gain control of these keys, one in particular that opens an especially bad door. And it's up to the family, the Locks, who have moved into this house after the death of the father and husband figure, who grew up in that house, to keep this bad person from getting control of the house. I look forward to them doing it as a TV show. I wish that would have made it, but it didn't. But now knowing that Roberto Orci and Alex Kurtzman are in charge of overseeing the trilogy of films for it is pleasing for me, because I like both of them. They've handled Fringe. They were on the Star Trek movie reboot. So I got faith in them, and I'm really hopeful to see this, because it's an amazingly good comic book. I'm sure it'll also make a great film.
Well, now I'm very interested. So that's why I wanted you to explain it, because I knew you'd make sense out of it.
It's really cool. Like one of the keys, and I'll keep it brief, will actually, if you put it against the back of your head, it will open your skull, and all of your thoughts, your fears, your ideas, your knowledge, you can kind of see it as people in your brain, and even you can look into your own head. It's weird. You have to read the comic to kind of get it, but you can like remove your fears, just pluck them out as though you were plucking a hamster out of a cage, and it's gone. Or you can take a book, throw it in your head, and suddenly you have that knowledge. And that's just one key. There are so many other keys that do really cool things. I can't wait to see how they handle it in a film.
That would be so handy.
Yes,
That'd be so handy.
I know Kung Fu.
Ben Affleck is teaming up with Kristen Stewart for Focus, and Affleck is going to be playing a con artist who takes in a girl new to the world of swindling. And this is from the Crazy Stupid Love creators. It's not directed by Affleck.
Yeah, I've actually seen this movie. It came out a few years ago. It's called Matchstick Men with Nicolas Cage and Sam Rockwell, which is actually a really good movie.
It is a good movie.
Until recently, I didn't even realize that Ridley Scott directed it, so that probably helps things. It is Kristen Stewart's first big-time role after the Twilight series, so we'll
Really?
kind of see how she does with that. I'm sure she's playing another mopey teenager, but whatever. So I'm going out on a limb and saying that she's actually going to be the con artist in this one and swindle both, everybody in this one.
I don't know. I want to. It sounds interesting, and I'd like to see her doing a little bit more than just what she's been doing with big science fiction epics. I think she has some talent. I'd like to see it more at play.
I agree. She gets a lot of flack for the Twilight series, but I just recently saw the Snow White movie. I thought she was really good in that. I mean, she's a little bit on the morose side, but she smiled a few times in that one. So
She's got a beautiful smile. I said that when I reviewed it. It's amazing to me because I don't like her, but when she smiles, I'm like, oh, yeah. I get it. I understand why that ugly ass vampire would like her.
I'm not a hater of hers at all. I'd like to see her do something different, though, like you said.
Yeah. Well, the Muppets sequel is ramping up. Scott's really excited. It's going to be a caper film, and it will introduce
Phenomena?
Phenomena. It will introduce new Muppets, and Christoph Waltz is set to play an Interpol agent.
Apparently, I'm the only one excited about this. I think I'm looking forward to
Well,
it.
we're hoping somebody else is, because otherwise they're just listening to dead air right now.
Well, I mean, I said the Muppets was my favorite movie last year. I can't wait for more. Christoph Waltz in that, that sounds fantastic. That's the guy that was in Inglourious Basterds, right?
Yep.
And I love when they put like serious actors in these movies, like they did with Chris Cooper in the last one. And I don't know. No, Jason Segel is kind of sad, but he is rumored to have an appearance at least. But I think that's actually a detriment to it because he had a lot to make that last one successful. Mm-hmm. And you were mentioning before that you think that this is a little too soon for that.
I think The Muppets is not something you need to make a series out of. I think Brian and I were talking a little bit about it. It's definitely the kind of film where every 5-10 years a movie pops up, but you don't need Muppets 1, 2, 3, 4 because I just think it's a nostalgia thing. Mm-hmm. And if you do it all the time, people are just going to get bored with it. And then they're going to flop like the last ones did. And then you're going to have to wait another 10 years and then bring it back again.
Right. What was the last one? Like Muppets from Space or
I don't know.
something?
There's like a pirate Muppet. There was a Muppets in Space. There's all kinds
Treasure
of...
Island? I love Treasure Island.
Yeah,
but the wait is longer than 10. It's like
True.
20 years or so. It's basically a generation or at least a half a generation before you can play the Muppet card again. So you can't like we were saying you can't go to that well too many times. Otherwise you just kind of burn it out and then it's done for decades really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that last one did suck. I mean, Muppets versus Jason. I mean, come on.
Muppets versus Jason. I'd pay to see that. Warner Brothers is launching another live-action Tarzan film, so we are getting a Tarzan film with David Yates, who directed some of the Harry Potter films, locked in to direct. Some of the names that are currently being thrown around are Tom Hardy, who played Bane, Henry Cavill, who plays Superman in the next year's Man of Steel, and Charlie Hunnam, who plays Jax on Sons of Anarchy.
I feel like every week there's one news article that I have to just kind of roll my eyes at and just, this is one of them. I don't understand why why we have to have yet another film. I mean, didn't they just try and do a TV show not that long ago?
Yeah, a few years ago.
And it just flopped. and didn't do anything. I don't understand the appeal of the character. I really don't. And I don't see how they're going to make this, white man in the jungle film relevant. It's at least with the Lone Ranger, it's been a good goddamn long time since there's been anything really Lone Ranger related coming out. I feel like this Tarzan, somebody comes along every 5-10 years, says, hey, let's try and give this a try in some way, and it always flops, unless it's Disney and it's got some songs behind it. Hell, even that's is one of the lesser known Disney films as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. I don't see the point.
I love George of the Jungle. Do one of those.
Fuck. Oh, God.
Bring Brendan Fraser back.
Look out for that tree.
I love the George of the Jungle movie.
Did you really?
Yeah, that was fantastic. It was so stupid.
And I do not see them getting Tom Hardy to do this Drac. I certainly don't see Henry Cavill doing it if they're going to try and do any more Supermans after that first one. Mm-hmm. Charlie Hunnam maybe, and he actually has kind of the look of a Tarzan type guy. He's not overly bulky. I could see him doing it, but why? I mean, just the name just kind of has a whiff of old desperation on it. Drop this one, move on.
Are we talking about, as far as, and I use this term loosely, but liking person A or person B for this role? Are we talking about maybe closer to the Greystoke, what is it, Tarzan, Lord of Greystoke type of Tarzan movie? Or
they haven't said what vein they're going for yet.
Okay.
Just because it's live action.
Now, it was years ago, and my tastes have obviously changed since then, but at the time, I remember that Greystoke movie was actually pretty good. I believe, wasn't that Christopher Lambert from the Highlander movies?
That's one of the few movies he was actually good in. Yep.
Yeah.
But it obviously didn't make that big a splash. They didn't do anything more with it.
Nope. It didn't.
Of course, we live in an age of franchises now.
Well, once he got his sword and started, he moved out of the jungle and moved to Scotland.
Yeah,
well, once he got back to Highlander 2, the Drakening.
I think the Bo Derek movie made more than that Greystoke movie.
Maybe. Anyway, this is Tarzan.
Tarzan the Ape Man with Bo Derek.
I know. I'm just saying this is Tarzan. It's crap. It really. I don't think it deserves a lot of conversation.
Can any of us do the yell, the yodel? Oh, anyone?
Well, I think you just did. Next.
And it was awful. All right. Well, on news that'll definitely get Justin simmering. John Cusack is confirmed to be playing Rush Limbaugh in a film that looks at how Rush Limbaugh reinvented talk radio.
I'm not really optimistic about John Cusack, let me preface that with saying that I really do like John Cusack, but I'm really not keen on him for this role because he is playing Rush, and it's really not so much for the size, because Cusack is actually a fairly small fella compared to Rush Limbaugh, who's ginormous. But it to me, it's more of the voice. John Cusack has got, relatively speaking, kind of a squeaky voice compared to Rush's brash, just gravel type voice. So if it stays true to the basic script, what they're saying, what the script is going to be, and how he changed radio, then I'm fine with that. But if it's really just some liberal movie maker that's just decided to make a few bucks off of bashing somebody like Rush Limbaugh, then I really don't have the time for it. That being said, I'm not a Rush Limbaugh fan, really, by any stretch. I think he's kind of a whack job, but I do recognize the fact that he has changed radio, and he drives radio. He's very much, even though the media is slightly different, he's every much as a contributor as Howard Stern. And the main reason is that the people that hate him, they also listen. So if you can get the people that love you and agree with you and the people that hate you to listen to you, you're doing something pretty damn awesome. Mm-hmm. So I think I don't know if he deserves a movie about him, but I think he does deserve some recognition for his achievements in radio.
I like the idea of it because I think he's added a lot more to radio than Howard Stern has. Whether you love him or hate him, he has changed how talk radio works. I mean, a lot in the course of the last 30 years. And the fact that the guy has basically self-destructed his own career like 4 or 5 times and is still on and still extremely popular boggles my mind. Because how many celebrities, really get that chance? So the only thing I don't like is John Cusack is, he's an extreme left. Rush Limbaugh's extreme right. If they treat it like Brian said, if they make it like a fair representation of whatever that story is, I'm cool with that. I'd like to see it. But if it's just basically they take 2 hours to bash the crap out of him, just do that on talk radio on your own station or something. I don't need to see that.
Right, and that goes both ways. If it was a 2-hour movie about who's the guy that used to be on ESPN that was on, they got fired from MSNBC, Keith Olbermann.
Yeah.
Or even Rachel Maddow. I mean, I'm fine with, I don't want to pay $10 for a ticket to go see somebody just make this person look bad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what side of the fence you're, liberal, conservative, libertarian. I don't give a shit. I don't want to see that. But if you're showing me a movie about how somebody has contributed to culture or society or changed the way a certain industry works, then I'll watch that.
It's going to be so hard to do without doing that, though.
No, it's not. It's really put your politics aside. I don't understand why more people can't do that. Put your politics aside. You can look at something objectively. That's what objectively means. So
if Cusack does that, then I will give him a lot more credit than I actually already do for his acting ability. Because he, like you say, he is way left.
He is. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. And I'm actually impressed. I actually want to give Justin credit because he stayed quiet through that whole portion.
Yeah, he's wearing a ball gag right now just so he doesn't chime in.
He's just like, I just want to get to recasting the classics. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. Mortal Kombat is preparing to film with a budget of $40 to $50 million and director Kevin Tencharowin, I don't know how you say it, at the helm. They're rebooting the series, and it's basically going to be about a grocery clerk or supermarket employee who finds out he has supernatural powers and has to decide if he wants to fight good or evil.
This sounds like such a terrible idea. There was one Mortal Kombat movie that was okay, but it wasn't good. I think if you're going to make a movie based on Mortal Kombat good, it needs to be not this place in reality thing with a grocery clerk that finds out he's got supernatural powers. Just put the whole thing in the Mortal Kombat universe and make an interesting movie out of it. They've done that with the games and it's worked fine. I don't know why you have to do this base in reality bit with it. Just make it about the characters are interesting enough. The story's interesting. Excuse me. You don't need to. It just bugs me when they do that.
Finish it.
That little web trailer movie thingy, whatever it was they did, was fucking awesome.
It's the same guy that directed that's getting the movie too.
Really? Because
Yeah.
that was really cool shit. I mean, it was a much darker, grittier kind of take on the whole Mortal Kombat thing as opposed to the first two films that came out. So I don't know how this film is going to look, but if that guy's in charge of it and if he can maintain that sort of atmosphere and look to the film, I'm a bit more curious than I otherwise would have been.
I think it's just so hard to take that series with live action actors seriously. I mean, you've got a guy with 4 arms. You've got, a guy that there's just so much goofy stuff that, and I don't mean goofy's not the right word, but again, when you try to make it live action, it just looks silly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it can.
Well, let's go to the home mill, Scott.
All right. Well, as always, we do like movie news, and every once in a while, something's worth mentioning, even if it's completely confirmed or might be just an informed rumor. There's been a lot of talk about the Star Wars Disney stuff that's been going on. We mentioned last week that Matthew Vaughn has dropped out of X-Men First Class 2 or Second Class or whatever it's going to be called. Coach. Anyway, now comes the speculation that he dropped out because he is in talks with Lucasfilms to help helm the next Star Wars movie. As well as Safety Not Guaranteed director Colin Trevorrow. He's also rumored. So these are obviously lots of rumors. This stuff has been... it's squashed as soon as it goes up. So these are obviously high rumors. But what do you guys think about those two possibilities, Aaron?
I really love Matthew Vaughn. I don't think he's actually going to do it. He's actually working on a pet project he's wanted for a while. That rumor's getting a lot of traction, but I think just about anybody's going to get traction right now. I think everybody's going to start speculating about their favorite director. I really think I just want a script to be done. I want him to actually focus on whatever the story is going to be. worry about that stuff. I know you've got the 3 actors from the original trilogy. You've got Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford are all saying that they'd come back. That's cool. Get the story done because they're all going to be dead soon. I mean, Carrie Fisher, she's walking the line every minute. And Harrison Ford, he ain't getting any sprier. So get that stuff locked down, then worry about who's going to direct it. I think there's a lot of talented directors that could helm the franchise out there. So I don't think there's just one guy that can do it. But Matthew Vaughn, he's the best rumor I've heard so far.
One of the beautiful things now about it being open, Star Wars, the franchise being open, is that now you can take it in a lot of different directions. You don't have to just go the space opera route. You can go darker. You can maybe go kid-friendly in some things. So there's a lot of directors that could potentially step up and do a good job with it. Vaughn could have, but yeah, I don't think he will. And I've never seen so far that Safety Not Guaranteed. Is that even out yet?
I think it's limited.
Yeah, so I have no idea what this Colin guy could do, but yeah, all my prayers are on Whedon, but that'll never happen. I know that's just purely a geek fantasy on my part.
Welcome to Brian's Trailer Park. In what may be Steven Soderbergh's next to last movie, Side Effects, stars Rooney Mara, who's caught up in an apparent love triangle with her ex-con husband, who's played by Channing Tatum, and her psychiatrist, who's played by Jude Law. And he happens to have her on some anti-anxiety prescription that's having some unexpected side effects. It's kind of hard to figure out exactly what's going on from this trailer, but I actually like that. Mm-hmm. Justin, as our resident drug kingpin and sharer of a piece of work entitled Haywire with Steven Soderbergh, what do you think about the psychopharmaceutical thriller?
Well, and as a person who does take a drug, this one being for antidepressant and all that, I'm sympathetic. It looks interesting. Rooney Mara is just one of those actresses that intrigues me every time I see her up on the screen because she's not easily pigeonholed, and so knowing that she's involved, everybody involved actually looks interesting. I'm curious to see how it goes. Soderbergh is one of those directors that I think is amazing at what he does. I've got faith that this one's just going to be yet another great film right out of his camera.
I love Soderbergh. I watched this trailer and I didn't know anything about the movie at all, and I love. I mean, from the trailer, it looks like there's some pretty nasty side effects. So, and for other people in her life as well. And it looks like the Jude Law character, the doctor, seems to have there's a lot more going on with his story with his patient, and it looks like there might be more to that story. And it just looks like a lot of different things going on that are interesting me. Mm-hmm. I really want to see it.
I kind of take what you guys said, both of what you said, because I agree with you, and kind of put it into one thing. I obviously really like Rooney Mara, but I also like I'm sorry. I also like Soderbergh's
Sounds
films.
like a goddamn TB ward around here.
I like Soderbergh's film style in that, and I've mentioned this when we talked about some of his other movies. It feels like you're just sitting in a conversation, not watching a script, and I'm looking forward to seeing Rooney Mara in that mm-hmm. aspect, because I mean she's like Justin said, just so interesting to watch on screen.
Channing Tatum is really coming into his own too.
I agree.
mean, did you guys see the stills from White House Down that
Yeah.
we just put on the internet where he looks like John fucking McClane? It looks awesome.
No.
It looks great. It looks like a return to summer blockbuster. So anything that guy's doing a lot of interesting stuff, not just stuff that you think he would be doing, and the fact that he's in this, him and Soderbergh seem to have hit it off quite a bit. I'm on board. I'll be there opening day.
Yeah, he really, like you say, he really is mixing it up, and the stuff he's mixing it up with is actually working. So good on him. Speaking of opening day, Side Effects opens February 8th, 2013. So it looks like another decent potential Valentine's Day sort of movie there. So
Oh shit! It comes out the same weekend as Die Hard.
yeah, so apparently you won't be seeing that one.
Yeah, I guess I won't be going day one. Sorry.
Nothing says I love you like psychopharmacology.
Touche.
Oh, well, next up is let's see here. Despicable Me was a surprise hit a couple of years ago, and now it has a sequel. But this time around, the main focus is on the Minions, who were, let's face it, the best thing about the first one. Gru, the evil scientist who was played by Steve Carell, is back, and Al Pacino actually plays his nemesis this time around. But make no bones about it, the star of this movie are the unintelligible minions. This trailer raises a question, though. Will Aaron break out the candy wagon and cruise the movie theater for some
for some minions of his own?
For some minions of his own, right?
I don't. I'm probably one of the few people that don't think this film needs a sequel.
Thank you. I'm right with you.
I would actually agree with you too.
I like the minions a lot. I thought they were really cute and funny and everything else, but I think they serve their purpose. I don't see any more need for them. I watched the trailer. The trailer has a lot of cute little bits with them. Oh, it's adorable. I don't need any more. I'm good.
Yeah, I think those work better as a side aspect of the movie. Kind of like that, like the little squirrel guy in the Ice Age movies. I don't want a full movie on that. It's just something that make you laugh in the background. I did like the rest of the movie too, in the first one as well. Mm-hmm. But I think the appeal of that will wear off in a full-length movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's a case of, I like a little sugar on my cereal. That doesn't mean that I'm going to upend the whole bag onto my cereal. You're getting too much of what in the right amount is good. Give you too much, and it becomes just boring and uninteresting. And personally, I thought the little girls were more interesting, especially it's so fluffy! Little girl
I did
was
like the main
to me
story
cuter
too.
than the minions.
And the trailer did make me laugh.
It's all right.
I didn't laugh. I laughed when they sucked the cat up, but then they let it come back safely, and then I was disappointed.
Well, we know how you are fond of sucking cats. So,
Jesus.
Anyway,
Wow.
Despicable Me 2 opens July 3rd, 2013, so there is a little bit of wait on that one. And if there's anything you want us to wait on, send us an email at feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com. You can reach us a few other ways also. Our Twitter handle is @H_outsider. And like us on Facebook at facebook.com/thehollywoodoutsider, where you can post comments, questions, and catch some interesting news bits every now and then. Don't forget, you can get your official I'm a Ho t-shirts over at thehollywoodoutsider.com. And please, just as a reminder, go to podcastawards.com and vote for us once a day, every day through November 15th in the TV and movies section.
Stump the Ho.
Stump the Ho. Each week, one of our hosts poses a trivia question to the remaining hosts and attempt to stump their fellow hoes. Hoes meaning Hollywood Outsider. This week it's Justin's turn. What is your Ho question?
All right. Later on the show, we're going to be talking a bit about Bradley Cooper, star of the Silver Linings Playbook film that's coming out shortly. But before he became a massive movie star, he had some TV gigs, quite a few of them, in fact. One of them lasting all of 4 episodes before Fox canceled the show. That particular show was called Kitchen Confidential. And that show was based on a book written by a well-known chef. Who was it? A. Wolfgang Puck. B. Gordon Ramsay. C. Bobby Flay. D. Anthony Bourdain. Aaron, you go first.
What was the second one?
B. Gordon Ramsay.
I'm going with B. Gordon Ramsay.
Okay. Scotty?
I'm going to go A. Wolfgang Puck.
All right. And Brian?
I'll go with Anthony Bourdain.
All right.
All right.
There you go.
We're going to learn the answer a little later in the show, so stick around. Now let's go to the big screen where we review any recent releases. The first one is the one that was the biggest hit at the box office, Wreck-It Ralph. Scotty, what the hell happened with the movie that seems like it's destined to be your greatest film ever?
It was pretty good. Am I the only one that saw this movie, I take it?
You sure are.
That's kind of sad. This was pretty good. Obviously, it's right up my alley. It's based on video games, but it's more than just that. They do something very interesting with the video game genre in that they don't focus on one licensed property, as you guys know. There's lots of little throwbacks to old arcade games from arcade games, like in the actual arcades, but also some home console video games from back in the day. But they don't focus on just one. The main character, Wreck-It Ralph, is the villain in a game called Fix-It Felix. And he's the bad guy. He's tired of being the bad guy and kind of wants to branch out and be known as a good guy and be accepted by all the rest of his video game characters in this unseen world. So what he does is he escapes his game and enters another game to try to win a hero medal so that he can come back and be loved by everybody again. And he winds up leaving that, going to a kart racing game that's based in it's called Sugar Rush. Everything's based on candies and sweets and stuff. It's kind of silly, but
It's like Candyland.
Kinda. Yeah, you're familiar with that, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I am. That's how you get him in the van.
There he meets the character named Vanellope. It's voiced by Sarah Silverman. Oh, Wreck-It Ralph is voiced by John C. Reilly, by the way. She basically steals his medal so that she can enter a race and forces him to help him win so that he can get his medal back. And the story sounds kind of silly. It kind of is, but it does work pretty well as far as keeping you engaged throughout the whole time. The really good part about this is that the video game theme is there, but nothing is focused so much at one time, especially the older games, that kind of thing. They're just kind of touched in a little bit here and there. The story does sound a little silly. It is geared more towards kids than a lot of other movies that welcome adult audiences into it. But it's not overly silly at any point. It really does work, and it's got a lot of charm. The acting, you really couldn't. It's hard to talk about acting with a cartoon movie because it's all about the voice casting. But you really couldn't have asked for a better voice cast. John C. Reilly, perfect for this character. He's got a big guy with the heart of a teddy bear. I was really worried about Sarah Silverman's voice acting in this movie because she's really annoying in real life. Especially
I like Sarah Silverman.
I like her in doses, but she can get...
She's fucking Matt Damon.
That was pretty funny. But she had the potential to be annoying really early, and she really wasn't in this. I was really pleasantly surprised. She had the perfect amount of childlike charm. She plays a child character in this, and it was really, really great. Alan Tudyk is in it. I don't know if you knew that.
I heard he's one of the voices, yeah.
He does a voice that sounds eerily similar to the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland, which I didn't know he had the ability to make that voice. But Jack McBrayer, Jane Lynch, even Ed O'Neill makes an appearance in this. Each voice was just perfect. As far as the production, this is one I did see in 3D, and I'm glad I did. I'm finally believing that 3D movies are best suited with animated movies. Live action ones, just it's more distracting. This is one that makes it fit a lot better.
Did you feel like you were 10 again because all your favorite video game characters are coming at your face?
A little bit. I mean, that stuff wasn't so much in your face. The more 3D stuff was more in the action sequences, like when they go to the made-up games. Mm-hmm. Like there's a game called Heroes Duty, which is basically a first-person shooter. It's taken Call of Duty, Sugar Rush, the kart racing game. That stuff was more in your face, and it had the depth. The older references or the retro games, there wasn't so much 3D aspect to it. But as far as the animation, it is. And I mean this seriously. It's one of the best animated films I've ever seen. That's not a Pixar movie. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
Are you talking about image quality?
Yes. The images, in the animations themselves were gorgeous. The vibrant colors everywhere. The Sugar Rush area, just colors everywhere. I want a kart racing game based on that. It looks like a lot of fun.
I'm sure somebody somewhere is working on it.
Oh, it's got to be. I can't imagine it wouldn't. There's a couple different tracks that they were doing that I was like, I totally want to play that track. But overall, I had a lot more fun with this than I anticipated. And I actually went in with high expectations of it. I did expect a kids movie. And that is more or less what I got. I think it kind of missed the mark a little bit on what Pixar movies do so well in that they make it enjoyable for both kids and adults. This one brought the adults in with the retro gaming thing, but it just teetered a little bit on the edge of a kids movie. And that's not really a discredit to the movie because it's a kids movie. I mean, it wasn't made solely for me, so I don't really fault it.
I disagree.
It wasn't made solely for you. No, Scotty, it was not made solely for you.
You know what I mean? It wasn't.
We're making a movie for Scotty's $10 ticket.
The throwbacks to classic games were enough to keep me interested, but sadly, most of that stuff was done in the first third of the movie, and then the rest of it was all in the made-up games that they made for the movie. That's where the majority of the story was. And as silly as the story sounds, it was surprisingly complex in the different ways it went. I kind of just touched briefly on it, but it actually goes in a couple different directions that kept me interested in the story as I went along. There were more than one laugh out loud moment as well. I had a grin on my face throughout most of the movie, so I highly recommend it. If the ticket price was $10, I would give it an $8.50.
Nice. All right, I saw Man with the Iron Fist. What? What? That's the new movie from the RZA. I'm just kidding. It's RZA. He's a former Wu-Tang Clan rapper.
You know, hand signals don't work on.
Wu-Tang Clan.
Clang.
You are so white.
So Caucasian.
Whitey.
All right. Well, the movie's several parties converge on a small Chinese village in the pursuit of vengeance and gold. This basically includes a bunch of assassins, some warriors, a rogue British soldier played by Russell Crowe, a brothel and its owner played by Lucy Liu, and one nice, humble blacksmith caught in the middle of it all, basically. The film stars and was directed by rap star The RZA. It was co-written by Eli Roth, who has done a bunch of horror classics such as Hostel and Cabin Fever. That was sarcasm. He's not a good writer. It's presented by Quentin Tarantino. I want to caution people. When they say presented by, all that means is he helped pay for it. It doesn't look anything like a Tarantino movie. Please don't think you're going to see Kill Bill, because you could just stay home and watch Kill Bill. It's so much better. The cast, like I said, includes Russell Crowe, Lucy Liu. David Bautista stars as the brass body dude you see in the trailers. There's various Chinese and Hong Kong stars in the movie. The story is exactly what I said. That's it. It's totally a chop-socky throwback to 70s and 80s kung fu flicks. You can tell that RZA loves those kind of movies, and he's trying to play homage to it. But the story is stupid. It's irrelevant. It's all over the place. I mean, you don't really need a story for this kind of movie. It's all about the action, the acting, how well they do the ridiculousness. I mean, that sort of thing. So when it comes to acting, Russell Crowe, he was great. I don't know how they got Russell Crowe. I don't know what porn pictures they had of him and random actors doing freaky shit, but they got him, and he owns the movie. Every scene he's in, fantastic. He's the vicious British soldier. He's basically on vacation, and he finds himself helping the cause. And he seems to be having more fun in this movie than I've seen him have in a long time. I mean, you can tell, like, he doesn't... I think he showed up and said, nobody's going to see this movie. I don't care. So I'm going to have fun. He gets no kung fu moments, but he still gets some really cool action fights. Actually, some of the coolest fight scenes are with him, and he does no kung fu. I mean, he's pudgy, middle-aged, but he's got a kick-ass gun / knife / twirly thing. I don't know what the hell you call it, but it's pretty fantastic. Lucy Liu, who I normally don't care for, she was pretty strong. She's the head of the brothel, and she can kick a little ass on her own, but if you saw Kill Bill, you know that. Like I said, just go watch Kill Bill. Everybody else, especially the RZA, were awful. Just awful. I like RZA a lot. He's genius when it comes to music, and you can tell his heart is in the movie. So I feel really bad picking on him for it, because you can tell in every scene that he loves this genre. He's trying to recreate something he loves. I get that, but his acting is awful. The one thing I can't stand is when people love a genre but they decide to cast themselves when all good tastes say that you shouldn't. It's kind of like, Ben Affleck, when he turned to directing and everything else, and he started recreating his career. And the first movie he stayed out of. That's what I think RZA should have done. He should have stayed out of this one. Because I think he's got a good handle on some of the action, but his acting just takes you out of it. It's just not good. I mean, and it's not good in a cheesy fight, sake kind of way. It's just not good. And it's boring. He's not charismatic on screen. And the main villain, Silver Lion, I think he's played by a guy named Byron Mann. That dude was absolutely awful. He's like a Chinese prince. He looks like Prince. And he woke up in acting class, because everything about him is awful. Everything he does is ridiculous. It's not over the top in a cool way like Sho'nuff in Last Dragon. I mean, it's just bad and not cool or funny, or the whole time, every time he tries to be Sho'nuff from Last Dragon, you just laugh at him like, no, dude, no, you're missing it. You're just
You ain't
missing
the Shogun of Harlem.
Yeah, you ain't the Shogun of Harlem, no. And so anytime Russell Crowe or Lucy Liu aren't on screen, it's hard to take anything seriously, and I don't mean that in a cool, fun way. It's just, it stops being a fun movie when they're off screen. RZA directed the movie. I think he has a good eye for it. I think he should do another movie. I think he should stay out of it. He should avoid the screen if he can. I mean, I don't even think he should be standing next to the frame at this point, based on what I saw.
Stay back in the video village.
Yeah, just stay back. There's a lot of cool scenes, and some of the fights kept the movie moving. But the problem was the story was ridiculous and all over the place, and it wasn't coherent enough. and the acting was so laughable, it just took you out of the movie. That said, the music was fantastic. Now, I know RZA did the score for it. Fantastic score. I mean, that's one of the few scores I ordered as soon as I left the movie because is that good.
Really?
Yeah, it's just, and it's one of those where you hope it's going to bring the movie up. It doesn't. I mean, it does in some scenes because the music is just like, oh yeah, you start nodding your head like, oh, I want to kick somebody's ass right now. And then the fight happens like, oh, really? That's where you went? It's just, So, huge fan of the music. Love the music. Already bought it. Highly recommend it. But in terms of the movie, I was expecting a cheesy chopsocky flick. We talked about it. We were all excited about it. I was really disappointed. Tyler's my buddy that went with me. He loves these kind of movies. He didn't like it. At one point we were looking at each other like maybe we should just leave. I never do that. I hardly ever do that in movies. But it was just getting to the point where it was just getting stupid. And RZA just shouldn't have cast himself as the lead. That's a real big risk you take when you're a first-time filmmaker. And granted, he's surrounded by some talented people. Tarantino obviously just signed the check. He did not show up to help, apparently, because Eli Roth is not talented enough to manage this. I'm sorry, he's not. I want RZA to stick with it. I want him to make another movie, maybe in the same vein, because you can tell the guy loves this genre. You can tell he loves everything about it. He just isn't the right guy to be in front of the camera. So, bad acting, no real story, middling direction, and the worst crime a film like this can make. It was boring. Just boring.
Wow.
So, but Russell Crowe was pretty cool. Kick-ass soundtrack, and that saved it some. So if $10 is the full price of admission, I give it $4.50.
Oof.
Yeah, I know. I was really disappointed.
Too bad.
I was really disappointed. But Russell Crowe is fantastic. They should make a sequel and just make it about him because he was awesome.
I'm still trying to figure out how they got him to do that.
I'm telling you, pictures. It's Hollywood, man. Somebody's got pictures of him doing something. Box office, Wreck-It Ralph was number one with $49 million. 49. But more impressive was that Flight had a higher per-screen average than Wreck-It Ralph. It was on half as many theaters and made $24.9 million. That is ridiculously rare in box office land. Very rarely does a movie open on less than 2,000 screens and actually make $24 million. I mean, that's huge.
Power of Denzel, man.
Denzel's the man. He knows he's the man. You see him on interviews, he just walks in and like, they're going to show up. This ain't Tyler Perry, man. I'm Denzel. Argo held strong, $10.2 million. It's dropped another 15%. It's already got $75 million in the bank. Should make about $100 million. The Man with the Iron Fist was a big flop. It opened with $7.9 million. But the budget was pretty low. It's only like $15 million movie, so it'll be okay. Skyfall, already over $300 million overseas. They're saying already, before it even opens in the U.S., it'll probably be the biggest Bond movie yet.
All right, we got two movies we're going to talk about this week. First one, mentioned it earlier, Silver Linings Playbook. Now, this one opens wide November 21st, but again, this is another one of those films that opens wide next week, but it opens in enough markets this week that we figure it's worth talking about. November 16th, Silver Linings Playbook is a romantic comedy drama. That's a mouthful. Directed by David O. Russell from a screenplay by Russell adapted from the serio-comic novel of the same name by Matthew Quick. I have no idea what a serio-comic novel is. Folks, Google's your friend. Check whatever that is out. Film stars Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence with Robert De Niro, Julia Stiles, and Chris Tucker. Silver Linings Playbook is about Pat Solitano, played by Bradley Cooper, who's lost everything. His house, his job, and his wife. He now finds himself living with his parents after spending 8 months in a state institution on a plea bargain. Pat's determined to rebuild his life, remain positive, and reunite with his wife despite the challenging circumstances of their separation. All Pat's parents want is for him to get back on his feet and to share in the family's obsession with the Philadelphia Eagles. When Pat meets Tiffany, played by Jennifer Lawrence, a mysterious girl with problems of her own, things get complicated. Tiffany offers to help Pat reconnect with his wife, but only if he'll do something very important for her in return. And let's all pause for a moment to fantasize about what that might be. As their deal plays out, an unexpected bond begins to form between them, and silver linings appear in both their lives. Scotty, you're a syrupy, sweet guy, straight to your core, and all about the romantic movies. So is this one on your list?
Not particularly. We talked about this one a few episodes back, and I just can't get real excited about this, even though Jennifer Lawrence is in it. And Bradley Cooper. It hasn't struck a chord with me yet. I'll have to wait to see some reviews on it to really get solidified if I want to check it out or not. It looks interesting, but nothing I'm gotta see or anything like that.
You're so wrong. I mean, you got to be used to it by now, but you're so wrong. Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Lawrence, crazy people, same movie. It's fucking there. You couldn't make me not be there. And it's getting great reviews. The reviews have been fantastic for this.
What about you, Brian? Any interest in all of this?
With the original trailer that we watched a few months ago, I kind of did, because it looks like a dark kind of a dark movie with some comedy thrown in there. But now the latest previews or the latest trailers I've seen, it almost seems like it's more of a comedy. It just seems more, I guess, the way they edit the previews and stuff. It just looks like it's just more funny than kind of darker. So I don't know. I'm a little confused by it, but I like the snarky repartee between the two of them. What's his whatever his name is. Bradley Cooper. So.
What's his name?
Man Crush number 3?
Yeah.
What about you, McCumber? Do you want to see it?
I do, but I'm going to wait till video. This film is, again, I've said it many times, films need a big story to get me to go to a theater to pay for it. This is not one of those movies. Any Cloud Atlas, which people should be going to see.
I can't wait. I actually want to see this more than a lot of what's coming out this winter. So.
Well, there's not a lot great coming out this winter, so it doesn't exactly have a lot of competition. But that said, on November 16th, this movie, Silver Linings Playbook, will get fucking crushed beneath the weight of the Twilight Saga, Breaking Dawn, Part Dos. Now, this is, of course, a romantic fantasy film directed by Bill Condon and based on the novel Breaking Dawn by Stephanie Meyer, the second part of a two-part film forming the fifth and final installment in the series. All three main cast members, Kirsten Stewart, Robert Pattinson, and Taylor Lautner, reprise their roles, along with Mackenzie Foy, who's playing Bella and Edward's child, Renesmee. Let's all chuckle at that stupid fucking name. After being brought back from near death by Edward after childbirth, Bella begins her new life as a vampire and mother to their daughter. Bowen Arena, a member of the Denali Coven, misidentifies Renesmee as an immortal child, which is a human infant who's been bitten and transformed into a vampire. To the Volturi, they set out to battle and destroy the Cullens for their betrayal. In a final attempt to survive, the Cullens begin to gather foreign vampire clans and nomads to stand and witness against the Volturi, including the Denali, the Amazonian, the Egyptian, the Irish, and Romanian covens, with European and American nomads. That's a mouthful. With their allies, the Cullens and the Wolfpack stand to prove their innocence to the Volturi once and for all. Brian, I know you're going to claim that your wife dragged you to go see this, and we're all going to act like we believe that, but between you and me, how excited are you for this, really?
I'm squealing. Yeah, not really, but yeah, I've seen all the others. And I'm just going to, I'm ready for it to kind of wrap up at this point. They are entertaining movies. I still say that considering the just boatloads of money that these movies have pulled in, that it astounds me that they just haven't forked out, I don't know, $20 extra on special effects, because some of the special effects in these movies are absolutely atrocious.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that said, like I said, they are entertaining. I'm glad for this stuff to be wrapped up. And this one allegedly has a hell of a lot more action than just about any other one. So I'm looking forward to that.
Scott, didn't you say you're going to watch all the Twilights again?
Yeah, I actually started. I just finished the second
dude,
one.
Again?
Well, I don't think you ever finished them.
I've never seen them.
Oh, shit. Oh, so you're not going to watch them all in a row, are you? Because good God.
No.
Oh my God.
That's a lot of suck to take all at once.
You'll grow tits by the time that's done.
Oh, wow.
I'm hoping they get better though, because I finished New Moon today, and I don't know.
What did you think of New Moon? I stopped after is that the second one?
That's
I watched
the second one.
Okay, I stopped after that one.
It's not that much better than the first one. I mean, the production's a little bit better than Twilight, but
I actually liked the first one a little bit. I thought it was okay. Then I watched the second one and thought, this is awful. Just awful. And I didn't care anything about the story or the characters, so I stopped.
yeah.
My wife goes and she watches all of them. She loves them.
The third one does have a lot more action in it.
Yeah, I thought they kind of got better as they went along.
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping on, because I...
Not to say they ever got good, they just got better.
Is it just me? The makeup and stuff just looks so distracting in these. The white faces and the red contacts and all that stuff. It looks so fake.
But Peter Fontanelli with that blonde hair just fucks me up.
I just don't care. I just don't. The whole sparkling thing, I can't take it seriously when vampires are running around in the daylight sparkling. I just can't take it seriously.
Yeah.
And at what point, from what I've seen, that they just decided to stop doing it. Like, it's part of the story, and I've seen clips, because, my wife's seen them. So I'll walk through the room when she's watching it, because I refuse to sit down and watch the whole thing. And I'll see them like, why aren't they sparkling anymore? She's like, I don't know, they just stopped doing it.
I did laugh out loud at one scene. There's a scene where she falls off her motorcycle, and to help her clean up the blood on her head, he rips off his shirt, revealing his 9,000 abs. Like, is that really necessary to take your whole
If
shirt?
I had that many abs, fuck yes.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah,
I
can't fault him for that.
Seriously, dude, if I worked in an office and somebody spilled coffee, I'd be like, oh, hang on, let me get it. Let me take my shirt off and get it for you.
You got some ink on your shirt?
Take mine.
All right, well, there you go. The Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2 and Silver Linings Playbook, both of them will be opening November 16th. Guys, of these two films, which one are you most likely to go see? Aaron?
Silver Linings Playbook.
Ryan?
Silver Linings Twilight, apparently. Glitter Linings Twilight. It'll be Twilight for sure.
All right, Scotty?
I honestly don't know. I was going to say Twilight originally because I was watching all the others in anticipation of watching it, but as little as I'm enjoying it, probably Silver Linings Playbook.
Oh, God. Twilight, I guess. Because at least that movie's got enough of a scope that a movie theater screen is the proper thing to see it on. Yep. Silver Linings is easily on my TV and not losing a damn thing.
Now, Justin, do you go see them in the theater?
No, I didn't. I rented them at one point because my wife had read the books, had enough kind things to say about them that I thought, well, I guess I should check these out. And the first one was terrible. The second one was less terrible. The third one was actually not bad. And then the fourth one, that part one, it suffered some pacing issues, but it wasn't terrible. I mean, there's a lot worse ways I could have spent a couple of hours. And I'm listening to you review The Man with the
Iron Fist. What was that? What was that point about RZA again?
He shouldn't have been the lead.
Shouldn't have been the lead. That's what
That's what he said. God,
that's what he said. Yeah, we missed out on that.
You can laugh all you want. I can't say it enough. So
no, that's obvious.
All right, you can hear us on iTunes, Zoom, Google. Listen on your Stitcher Radio app. Give us a thumbs up if you do, or any RSS feed, as well as Rockford College Radio every Thursday from 4 to 6.
What's this movie?
What's this movie? Each week we play ours or a listener-suggested clip from a movie. If you think you know what the clip is, email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com or send us a direct message on Twitter at @H_outsider, and we will announce those that got it correct on the air and give you a proper ho shout-out. We will get back to handing some T-shirts out soon, so keep a listen for that. Last week's answer was Brian's pick, and it was 500 Days of Summer. And a lot of people submitted responses, but not many people got it right. That was a hard one. And all I know is he wanted me to make sure that it ended with Anal Girl. That's Brian. Those that got it correct. Greg S., Kristen D., Mystery Anyone, Jared S., and Gringo Sog. So congratulations, guys. Man, good job, because you beat out a lot of people. There's probably like 20 responses that got it wrong.
Yeah. There's a lot of the wrong guesses.
It was all over. There was really nothing.
Are you sure that's not Gringo Sag?
Gringo Sag,
like the Gringo sagging somewhere in some way. Let's not dwell on what's sagging. But
there's something so wrong with us this week. This week it's Scott's pick, so if you think you know what this clip is, email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Of those that guess it correctly, we'll give you a proper shout-out next week on the show. Here's your clip.
In other news, the Prime Minister of Sweden visited Washington today, and my tiny little nipples went to France.
What did he just say?
Check the prompter.
The prompt is fine. Evan, read the copy, please. The copy's good. Just read it.
The White House Reception Committee greeted the Prime Rib Roast Minister, and I do the cha-cha like a sissy girl.
Okay, now if you know what that clip was, email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders. And in breaking news, the RZA should not have cast himself in The Man with the Iron Fist.
But Russell Crowe was great.
How was Russell Crowe in that movie? By
He
the way,
was great.
okay. That's
He
awesome.
was
Because I didn't
fantastic.
catch that earlier.
Okay, let's go to TV and home video news. Battlestar Galactica prequel, Blood and Chrome, which we talked about a couple months ago, finally gets a release date. It's going to be out Friday, actually. So by the time you listen to this, it should be out. What do you think, Justin?
I'm so sad because Sci-Fi as a network is run by I don't know if it's a special ed group that somehow got lost and just took over the place with their retard strength or what's going on, but Sci-Fi has had all of really one show that was really amazing, and that was Battlestar Galactica. They have had a few other shows of middling quality, Warehouse 13, Eureka, decent shows. But Battlestar was phenomenal. How then they could not take note and continue to produce something else of similar quality is completely beyond me. I don't know what happened with Caprica. I don't know what they're doing, but they were going to try and create a new TV show that was going to bridge the gap between Caprica and Battlestar Galactica, because Caprica was quite the prequel, and this one was going to fill in that time. For some reason, they decided not to do a TV show, but they were going to release it as a movie. And now what they're going to do is they're going to release this in 10 segments on their on a YouTube channel for Machinima, called Machinima Prime. And they're going to vary between 7 and 12 minutes long each. And then on November, it's going to start on the 9th. Then early next year, they're going to release a 2-hour version of that on Sci-Fi, followed by a release of an unrated version of it on home video. I have seen several trailers for this. It looks magnificent. I can't wait to actually see the final product, because if it's as good or better than the trailers, this is a sorely missed opportunity on the part of Syfy to make a quality show, because I guess all they can do now is the next Mecha whatever versus Hydro whatever. It's pathetic. I cannot believe Sci-Fi is called Sci-Fi with the direct they produce. But people, please go watch this. I'm hoping it's going to be phenomenal. And Machinima Prime.
I would much rather see the completed product. I don't really want to see this bits and pieces crap.
How often are they coming out? Is it once a week?
Well, they're going to be doing it over a couple of weeks. So, is it a week or two?
It's a couple weeks, I think.
Yeah, so they're going to put them out like every few days or so. I'm curious to watch them, even though it's not going to be the final product. I want to see how the special effects worked out, the fight scenes, the music. I do believe Bear McCreary, who did the music for the original show, is doing the music for this. It looks amazing. So let's see. And if it gets enough views and enough purchases, maybe Sci-Fi will wake the fuck up and decide they want to make some good stuff again. Heaven forbid.
Maybe. Well, the Super Bowl every year gets one show that follows the main event, that whatever network has the Super Bowl that year plays in hopes that it's going to grow the ratings for that show. Usually it's a show that's been on a couple of years. This year, Elementary, which is a first-year show, is going to get the prime spot after the Super Bowl. That's pretty rare for a network.
Yeah, I didn't realize CBS had the Super Bowl this year, so that's kind of a neat little change up. And that's, like I say, it's definitely the prime spot. Last year, I believe that NBC had it, and they really hyped up The Voice, which kind of just really launched that show. By the time they, because that was the first time I checked it out, was after the Super Bowl, and it was, I've been hooked ever since. But my guess with Elementary is basically that ugly girl in the bar that's been giving you the eye all night, but you haven't hooked up with anybody else, and now you're shit-faced, and she just kind of she's looking a little bit better.
Those beer goggles are kicking in.
Right. So they're just kind of kind of roll with it to help boost the level up for this show, because I think it's just the best show that's been doing good out of all of their junk that they've released this fall. So,
well, I disagree, but
Vegas isn't doing as well as Elementary right now.
No, it's not, but it should be. It's a much better show.
Well, it should be, shoulda, woulda, coulda, all that bullshit, but it's not. So,
but Vegas is kind of a slut.
They're going to go with Elementary and try to give that the boost that maybe a little nitrous to kind of give it a little boost and take off. And I hope it does. I like Johnny Lee Miller, and I want to like that show a lot. I'm just having a hard time latching on to it.
Brian, I don't know what's going on with you this week, but I think you're having some woman problems. Okay, real quick, did you see that The Walking Dead had a huge reveal this week, which I'm not going to spoil. Justin, talk around it however you can.
It was, I didn't see it coming, even though, and luckily I did not get spoiled via Facebook or Twitter. Nobody texted me, that Michael Scofield died. I got to watch the episode untainted, and the ending of it was better than I could have hoped for. So many great things about that ending. I think a lot of people are going to find, fans of the show are going to find a lot to love in that episode. It was really shockingly good.
I thought it was probably the best episode I've seen in a year or two. I mean, really, it was that good. All around, not just the end. I mean, all around.
I need to get caught up in that show.
It was. I really liked the governor storyline, too. And some people, well, not some people, one person in particular hates it. But everybody else I know seems to really like that storyline. I like it a lot. And where they're going with it, they're getting a good use out of that character. And how they wrap that episode up, don't know where it goes from here, but damn. Just damn.
Yeah.
Brian, have you seen it yet?
Yeah. And actually, there's one of the things from the previous episode, from 2 weeks ago now, I actually kind of predicted. I didn't expect it to happen this quickly. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was one of those things that, okay, I saw part of that coming, but once they took it like 3 more steps, that threw me off. And I'm like, wow, there's a reason why this is one of the best shows on TV. Whether or not you like zombies, this is just a damn good show, and you should watch it.
Absolutely. Now let's go to DVD and Blu-ray, Scotty.
All right, we're going to be looking at the week of November 13th. We've got 6 releases, the first of which is Brave. This is Pixar's latest edition that takes the fairy tale route with the story of Merida, the Scottish princess with bright red hair. This is reviewed by both Brian and myself on episode 48. You can check that out there, as well as our YouTube channel, youtube.com/TheHoPodcast. Speaking of reviews, you can also check out Aaron's review of Savages, which is also released on the 13th. That is also on episode 50. That one stars the guy from Kick-Ass and the guy from John Carter as they rescue their shared girlfriend from the Mexican drug cartel. Next up is The Watch. This is the comedy with Ben Stiller and 3 other guys.
Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn, there you go. 4 guys from a neighborhood watch must defend their homes from aliens. Aaron reviewed that one as well on episode 53. Next, we had Nitro Circus, the movie. This just looks like to be Evel Knievel meets Jackass. And then also 2 Days in New York. This is about a Manhattan couple, Marion and Mingus, who each have children from prior relationships. They find their comfortable family dynamic jostled by a visit from Marion's relatives.
Jostled?
Jostled.
Okay.
I said jostled. It stars Chris Rock and Julia Delpy, who also directs that film. And last, we've got a film called Vamps. This is about 2 female vampires in modern-day New York City who are faced with daunting romantic possibilities.
Oh, I thought this was that Grace Jones movie.
That's Vamps. That's a great horror movie, by the way. Find that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, is Brave coming out on fucking Friday? Because I went into Best Buy Tuesday. I saw all sorts of posters for Spider-Man, completely forgot I was getting fucked, looked all over the store for it, and then remembered, oh yeah, that's on Friday. Fuck that movie. I'm not buying it now. I'm still mad.
You'll buy it.
Ooh, yeah. Hit me with that unknown shit. Flashback.
With that, we will move on to our Flashback DVD Blu-ray segment. This is where each week one of our hosts recommends a little-known or obscure film that we hope you'll give a chance. This week it's Aaron's turn. So, Aaron, sell us your movie.
Okay, well, last week we had a lot of outtakes that you didn't get to hear. Basically, riffing off a classic movie, and I went back and looked at our flashback section, and we actually never talked about it. So my pick this week is Real Genius. That is, fuck yes. If you haven't seen this, shame on you. Shame on you. This is one of the best 80s comedies ever. It stars Val Kilmer as Chris Knight, I think is his name. He's a genius prodigy that goes to school, and he's the future of scientific discovery, et cetera, et cetera. But he's fallen off the radar because he's become a little less mature, a little more ridiculous. He lives his life being smart and sarcastic. That's all he does. There comes a new student who seems
Mitch.
to be... Yeah, I'm getting there. Hang on. He seems to be smarter. He seems to be smarter than
quicker.
Chris.
This ain't the RZA.
He seems to... Okay, Black Dynamite. He seems to be a lot smarter than Chris, but he's also, just finding his footing. He's never been in a college before. He's one of the youngest students ever at this school. So Mitch comes in and he's taken under Chris's wing, basically for Professor Hathaway, who's played by William Atherton, who's the bad guy in Die Hard in the 80s and whatnot. Or the bad reporter in Die Hard. Sorry, not Hans Gruber. And essentially what the film is, it just follows them as they're conducting some scientific experiments, learning in the college process. You're living your life through these geniuses, and it's just fucking funny. And it has so many great one-liners, so many classic scenarios. The plot, you really have to watch it play out. It's very much an 80s movie, so you'll see a lot of really, bad 80s music motifs and whatnot, but it's just clever, fun, and go watch it. And it's worth buying. I don't even recommend renting it. Just buy it.
It is quite good.
Yeah, see, Justin knows what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, Scott, shame on you. But you can borrow it. I'm holding it right here.
Oh, are you?
The movie, too.
Oh, God. Oh, okay. The movie. Shit. I didn't know what you're talking about.
You said the movie too.
Yeah. Now let's get Justin's Stump the Hoe answer.
All right, guys. Let's review the question real quick. Bradley Cooper, star of Silver Linings Playbook, has had several TV gigs, but one of them lasted only 4 episodes before it was canceled. That show is called Kitchen Confidential. The show is based on a book by a well-known chef. What chef was it? A, Wolfgang Puck. B, Gordon Ramsay. C, Bobby Flay. D, Anthony Bourdain. Aaron, if I'm remembering correctly, you said Wolfgang Puck.
I said B, whatever B was.
You said Gordon Ramsay. Then it was
Yep.
Scotty that said Wolfgang Puck. And Brian said D, Anthony Bourdain. It is, in fact, D, Anthony Bourdain.
Oh, I hate when I'm wrong.
Bitches!
You okay? You need a minute to celebrate?
Are you okay? Because I just stomped your ass.
Wow.
Did you feel that? That was my foot in your ass.
That's pride fucking with you.
Okay, this week on our From the Outside In topic, where we talk about a topic that's on ours or listeners' minds, we're actually splitting it into 2 parts. One we're going to get to in a second, and the second one is going to be our top holiday film picks for the rest of the season. But before we get to that, Casablanca 2, that's being talked about. Star Wars Episode 7, that's being talked about. 2 more Bond movies are coming. We're getting more and more sequels to established franchises that have been dormant for a while. Normally we always say too many years and let it go. So we thought this week, let's talk about any franchises that have been dormant for quite some time that we think should be brought back or sequelized. Scott?
My first one's not so much a franchise, it's just one movie, but I've been wanting to see a sequel to it for a long time. That's The Professional. They had
You want to see like Natalie Portman all grown up?
Natalie Portman grown up and doing her assassin thing. I'd like to see that story continued. I think that'd be pretty cool. The charm would be gone a little bit of him raising her or taking care of her, training her, but I'd love to see her like kicking ass and taking names for his sake. It'd be kind of cool.
Brian?
I'm going to go with a movie from 2005, and it stars Keanu Reeves and a very small role, thank God, from a Shia LaBeouf, and that's Constantine.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, the cancerous, heavy smoking, back from hell, supernatural detective guy that Keanu Reeves was. I just think it was a very underrated movie, and like I said, it was one of the few roles I actually kind of liked Shia LaBeouf in. But it's dark, it's creepy. Even some of the kind of angelic creatures are kind of had a creep factor, and I just want more of it. Mm-hmm. That's all.
What about you, Justin?
Have I ever mentioned that the X-Files deserves another fucking movie where the aliens come?
Yes.
Like 12 times.
I brought that up? All right. I would love to see a sequel to Kill Bill. And I would like to see it where Vivica Fox's daughter is old enough to try and find her vengeance against the bride. But the bride's older or perhaps infirm or dead, so it's up to her daughter to fight in her stead. I would love to see those characters in that universe carried on. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
You want to know what my main choice is?
Not really.
Fuck you. Lethal Weapon. I want a Lethal Weapon sequel, not a reboot. I want a sequel. I want crazy ass Mel Gibson back. I want Danny Glover, even though he's like 80, back. I want Chris Rock, Joe Pesci, even though he's, him and his scary toupee. I want them all back for one more movie.
It wouldn't be too bad.
I thought 4 was kind of jumping the shark as it was.
That's why I want another one. I want them to finish the series a little classier than they did. Because really, Danny Glover hasn't been able to do action scenes for the last 3 movies anyway. So you can just have him sit there.
He's too old for that shit.
He's too old for that shit. But I would like to see that finished up. You have another one, Scott?
I do. And hear me out. I would like to see another Galaxy Quest movie.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I love Galaxy Quest. They could go anywhere with that. I mean, you've got the cast, you've got the... that would be a lot of fun.
Well, I would love another Blade movie. I think those have been so fun. And for me, the third one was a bit of a letdown after the pure awesomeness that the first one had. I thought the third one just kind of... If it wasn't for Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel being really cool, and Parker Posey actually being pretty cool, that movie was a bit of a letdown. But I thought the second one, directed by Guillermo del Toro, was just balls out fun from beginning to end. I don't know if I could have enjoyed that movie any more than I already did. I just really thoroughly enjoyed it. I wish that they would make a screen sequel to the Starship Troopers films, not the knockoff straight to videos or the cartoon, but a real theatrical sequel to that movie, because a lot of people, it's a very underrated movie. I think I hate to use the phrase, but I think a lot of people really didn't get what Verhoeven was going for when he directed that thing, and maybe after some retrospective, some time has gone by, they could actually do another one, and maybe it would be more well received.
I caught that recently on cable, and it was just tremendously entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Starship Troopers it's meant to be over the top. Yeah. That's what it's meant to be.
And of course, Serenity. Yes, we do need another one.
Yes, we do need another Serenity before Nathan Fillion really packs it on. You know what I mean?
A little thinner in Castle this season.
Yeah, he's trimmed up a little bit.
I think he watched last season and went, "Whoa, dude, why didn't you tell me?
Why is it wide angle and it's not supposed to be?
Why is my chin reaching down to my fucking belt buckle?"
And by chin, you mean the third one?
I would like to see a Chinatown. I would like to see Jack Nicholson back in that role, Jake Gittes. I always loved him as that character. I like the two Jakes. I know most people never even saw it. But I love that character, and I'd like to see him come back. Unfortunately, most people don't even know what I'm talking about. That's a sad part. But that is
his nose still going to be fucked up?
I hope so. That's kind of the trademark. It has to be.
Yeah.
And also my last one, Hellboy. I really want another Hellboy movie.
Yeah, those both were good. The second one had a lot more of a fairy tale feel compared to the first one, but they were both just so good.
Anybody else before we move on?
Just a quick one. How about Unbreakable? Good to see.
Oh, dude, don't. Just don't. I already gave up on that dream so long ago.
Mr. Glass in
that's
prison.
That's not going to happen. Dude.
I know. Well, that's part of the appeal of that movie is that there's so much unknown, but I just want to see what happened to the aftermath.
I'm one of the few people, I disagree with that. I love the first one. It doesn't need a sequel. I'd rather have it in my imagination.
Yeah.
So, all right, holiday movies. Each one of us, obviously there's a lot of movies coming out this winter. Some of them look great. Some of them look like dog shit. Which three do you want to see the most? Justin, why don't you start?
The first one that I wanted to bring up is one of those films that I don't think a lot of people have heard of, or that it's gotten talked about. But it's a movie called Dragon, and it stars Donnie Yen, It's about a village craftsman whose quiet life is irrevocably shattered by the arrival of two notorious gangsters in the local general store. Donnie Yen is an amazing martial artist in everything that he does, but this film looks to marry that with a bit of a Tarantino-esque vibe to the cutting and the pacing of the film. It looks really fun and interesting, and I'll watch anything Donnie Yen does. That's supposed to be coming out on November 30th. I have no idea what kind of release it's going to get, but if it's in my area, I will go see that.
Is the RZA in it?
No, I don't think the Riz is in this one, but if he was, it would suck.
Yeah, exactly, because it'll be great then.
Right. Brian, what's your number 3? Asshole.
I'm going to go with Jack Reacher. The Tom Cruise holiday action flick comes out December 21st, 2012. He's apparently some sort of homicide investigator, and they just digs deeper into a case where some dude shot some random victims. So whatever. Trailer, he's just kicking.
Wow, that's a
Tom
deep
Cruise is
look at that one.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is just kicking ass. That's all you got to know.
My number 3 flick is The Collection. It comes out November 30th. It's a sequel to the 2010 flick, The Collector. It's about a guy who tortures his victims before he kills them. It's kind of in the vein of Saw, but in The Collector, the original, I was a big fan of that. It's basically about a guy burglarizes a house, and the guy is there torturing the family when the guy breaks in, and he has to decide, what do I do to save this family but not get killed myself? So the killer doesn't even know he's in there for most of the movie, and that's kind of how it plays out.
I'm sorry. I mean, I hate to interrupt, but that's actually a sequel to that movie?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I love that movie.
Yeah, that was one of those really, very few people saw it, but it's a really good horror flick. And I saw it in the theater just on a whim because there's nothing else out, and it was great. I loved it. So this film has the killer trapping several people, and the guy who survived the original debating once again if he, after he already narrowly escaped once, if he wants to risk it again. I want to see it. November 30th is when it comes out. Scott?
My number 3 is, I'm stealing Justin's, but The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, which comes out on December 14th. I'm love the Lord of the Rings films, and this one looks to be following suit quite well. I'm excited to see it.
Justin?
Well, my second film is going to be Django Unchained. I mean, there's really no secret to that one. It's coming out on December 25th, so Christmas Day. But come on. Quentin Tarantino, a Western, Jamie Foxx, Christoph Schultz. What is there not to love?
Schultz?
Christoph
Schultz?
Waltz.
There you
Waltz.
Was it from Hogan's Heroes?
Yeah.
I know nothing.
Christoph Waltz. Jesus. But yeah, I mean, it looks like a hell of a lot of fun. Even DiCaprio looks like he's chewing up the scenery along with the rest of them. I can't wait to see that. Brian,
number 2?
My number 2 is Killing Them Softly with Brad Pitt. He's Brad Pitt's like some kind of mob enforcer, and there's he's investigating a hit taken out on some I guess family guys that were and by family I mean mob guys who were playing cards one day, and so he's trying to track down what happened and who did it. So it's really kind of it's actually kind of being billed as a comedy. So although the trailer that I watched didn't look very funny.
Yeah, I saw it. It didn't look funny to me.
Yeah.
It looked like a crime thriller.
Right.
My number 2 is The Hobbit, as Scott already mentioned. Comes out December 14th. Everybody knows what it is. It's the first film in the prequel series, Lord of the Rings. I just look forward to rediscovering that whole world. So, Scott, what's your number 2?
My number 2, I'm going to get a lot of crap for it, but Red Dawn comes out.
Why do you always say I'm going to get a little crap for it before we even get a chance to?
Because I'm
he knows it's coming because that's a shit film.
I think it looks like a blast.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey.
You never did see the first one, did you?
I did.
Did you?
Patrick Swayze.
And you still think that looks good?
You don't even have to have seen the first one to see this one looks like a turd.
Hey, if you're looking forward to it, Scott, it's your pick. You choose what you want.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, Scotty.
Aaron's sticking up for me.
Don't get bullied into liking something that you don't really like.
Exactly. No, I think it looks like dog shit too. But if you're looking forward to it, knock yourself out, dude. It's your pick. Justin, number 1. Your number 1 most anticipated movie of the winter.
fucking The Hobbit. I mean, how could it not be?
Fucking The Hobbit.
I
That's a
cannot
new
wait
one.
to see what they take from The Hobbit, what they take from The Silmarillion. It's Peter Jackson back in Middle Earth. I could not be happier to know this is coming out the day after my birthday on December 14th.
Woohoo!
So let's all of y'all know that my birthday is December 13th. I do have a wish list on Amazon. You can go check it out.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll be sure to do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Brian, your number one.
I've got to echo that sentiment. It's definitely The Hobbit. It's not even close. Whatever. It's more Middle Earth, like I say, more Peter Jackson. This is the 4-hour movies of the Lord of the Rings, of each Lord of the Rings trilogy extended editions is not enough for me. I want more. Give me more Hobbits.
Okay, well, I go the opposite of these guys. My number one pick, I always pick Tarantino because he's my favorite director working today. So, Django Unchained, the D is silent. December 25th, Tarantino returns to directing with Jamie Foxx playing a slave freed by Christoph Waltz to track down the man who stole his wife and comes face to face with the man behind it all in Leo DiCaprio. Every one of these people look like they're just eating the scenery up. I can't wait. That's my most anticipated movie this year. So
No Hitchcock mention at all?
well,
I was shocked.
It's
by that
not
as well.
till after, it's like mid-January, though.
yeah, it's Hitchcock's one of those movies where they're going to pop it in limited releases, but you won't be able to see it till January. So that's why it's not there.
Gotcha.
Brian understands. Smartest guy in this podcast.
You're damn right. It's about time you start picking up.
Scott?
My number one is Les Miserables, the musical. It's one of the.
Oh, that does look good.
The Les Miserables is one of the musicals I've seen actually on stage 2, if not 3 times. It's one of my all-time favorites, and the movie looks to be delivering. I am absolutely stoked for that.
Is the music really good?
It is if you like musicals. I mean, it's one of those where they're talking the story as they sing it. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're not into that, you're
but
not
is it
like
catchy? Is it melodic?
Some of it, yeah, absolutely. The big song is "What Can You Hear the People Sing?" is very. Mm-hmm. The one woman, remember?
Can you sing it?
Please don't.
Oh, please do. I'll give you $1.
Do you remember?
$5.
What was that woman that was on like Britain's Got Talent that was really ugly? And
oh yeah.
That song was from.
Really, that's how you got to do. That's how we got to remember
the
her.
ugly woman,
the ugly one,
the ugly British woman,
not the beautiful voiced woman.
It didn't let me
Susan,
finish. That
whatever her name
everyone
is.
was. God,
Maybe
Susan
if she was
Doyle.
110 pounds, Scotty would have found her pretty.
That's right.
She got a
Well,
little pad, and she's the ugly one.
That's right. You know, if she's over 100 pounds, really, once she hits triple digits, he's done with them.
The winner's the winner, you know.
Okay, well, those are our picks. So let's recap. Justin, what are your 3 most anticipated before you make Scott leave?
Dragon, Django Unchained, The Hobbit.
Brian?
Oh, going from bottom to top there, Jack Reacher, Killing Them Softly, and then The Hobbit.
Mine was The Collection, November 30th, The Hobbit, December 14th, Django Unchained, December 25th. Scotty?
The Hobbit, Red Dawn, and Les Miserables.
All right.
Is Les Miserables, is that French for no fatties?
All right, that was funny. Okay. Okay, now we're going to go to a new segment we're trying called Recasting the Classics. Justin?
Yeah, this is my brainchild. If it succeeds, it's all to my glory. If it fails, Aaron should never have let me try this. Earlier we mentioned that Casablanca is potentially getting a sequel. Of course, that got my mind to thinking, who would they cast? We'd mentioned a long time ago, we'd had a talk about what are those movies that are just untouchable to remake, and I said there weren't any. Casablanca was, of course, the one that I mentioned that with the right cast, I would see it. That made me think that it would be fun to create a weekly segment where each of us gets a chance to recast the classic. So this is where one of our hosts has a beloved golden oldie to recast with current actors, and then the rest of us can scoff at their choices. Since I'm starting, I have chosen my own film, but then once I'm done, I'm actually going to give Aaron a film for him to cast. And then next week he will cast it, pass it along, and so on and so forth. We're really hoping that you guys will send us some emails letting us know what you think of the next week's films, what people should be cast in those roles, so we can kind of see if your thoughts match our thoughts. And again, if it wins, it's all on me. If it loses or people hate it, Aaron, you were so damn dumb. You really should not have let me do this.
True.
So this week I did pick Casablanca. I know I said earlier that I think that the character of Rick should be played by George Clooney, originally played by, of course, Humphrey Bogart. I think it's his signature film with only The Big Sleep and The African Queen even coming close to it. But I think George Clooney has a similar vibe to Bogart. He just exudes this kind of silver screen charm and presence. And of all of the actors working today, I think Clooney is the only one that I would trust to pick up Bogart's baton and take that Rick character and give it the life that it needs. For the female lead, though, of Ilsa Lund, originally played by Ingrid Bergman, I think Cate Blanchett would do an amazing job of taking that character and giving it life. Cate Blanchett's got an amazing presence on the screen. She just carries herself with authority and loveliness. I think she would be fantastic. The other three characters, though, were a bit harder for me to figure out. Now, I don't know which point on the triangle he would be, but in this love triangle of Rick, Ilsa, and Laszlo, Laszlo was played by Paul Henreid in the original film, and I never really felt like Paul Henreid was a presence on the screen that matched Bogart, so it never made sense that Ilsa would even want to be with this guy. So who could I cast that could stand toe-to-toe with George Clooney for Cate Blanchett's affections? I tossed and turned on it, and finally, when one name popped up in my head, it was like a light going off. I think Daniel Craig would make a fantastic Laszlo. I think he could bring some real strength and authority to that character. I think you could stand him next to George Clooney and understand why Ilsa's character would have trouble deciding which of these two men did she want to spend her life with. And Daniel Craig, I think, could pull off that character quite well. Major Strasser, who is played by Conrad Veidt in the original film, was the typical Nazi slimy guy. He had the pencil-thin mustache, was the villain of the piece. I would actually like to see Mads Mikkelsen play Major Strasser. I originally was going to go with Christoph, whatever the hell his last name is, but I thought it would be going back to his Nazi well too much, because he already played a Nazi so brilliantly in Inglourious Basterds. But Mads Mikkelsen, I think, has the look and the vibe that could really give Major Strasser the villainy that he needs to have on that screen to threaten our heroes with. So I would love to see someone like him. And lastly, Captain Louis Renault, who is played brilliantly by Claude Rains. This was another hard one, but when I finally settled on Jean Reno, it made perfect sense. And of course, Scotty mentioned earlier Leon the Professional. He played Leon. He's one of those French actors that you see all over the place, yet I never really feel like he gets the due that he should. And having him play Louis, I think, would give great comedy, because I think Jean Reno is funny, but I also think when he gets serious, he can really do a good serious job. So I think these five people could take a Casablanca, redo it, and it would have the feel that it needs and the seriousness that it would need. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think I made good choices, or did I completely drop the ball?
I think it's great, but Brian's a huge fan of Casablanca. What do you think?
Actually, it's kind of funny because I think you mentioned probably about half the same list that I have. Mm-hmm. Rick, I agree with you. George Clooney is hands down the number one guy for the job. I also thought of a couple other outside the box guys, Hugh Jackman or Pierce Brosnan. Brosnan really even more than Jackman. Jackman, I think, both of those guys pulls off a tux like
nobody's business.
They pull off, and they both have that air. Ilsa, really the only one that I came up with is Penelope Cruz. I think she pulls off the foreign accent, the look, and you have to have a a woman who has a little bit of age on her. Not old, not young, but a little bit of worldly type of air. Daniel Craig I had for Victor Laszlo also, but also had a number of other people like Bradley Cooper, Jude Law. Even kind of mix it up a little bit, maybe a Taye Diggs or that Shamar Moore, just to kind of throw it a little bit of modernization into it, I guess. Mm-hmm. I even went deeper. I went with casting Sam, the piano player.
I wanted to limit it to 5, so Sam had to get cut. But I'd actually thought maybe Terrence. I cannot believe I'm
Terrence
Howard.
Howard.
Name.
Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard.
See, I was going with an actual musician. I was going to go with John Legend. But
yeah, not bad. Not bad at
all. Let's see here. Captain Renault. I thought Jean Reno was a very good choice. I was kind of going, because there is a little bit of subtle humor with Renault. He does a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff in Casablanca. Mm-hmm. I went with Robin Williams.
What?
So Robin Williams, because Robin, he can do this kind of serious, and he also does the tongue-in-cheek very well. Major Strasser, I thought Mickelson was a very good selection, but I was also kind of thinking Bill Nighy. And also James Cromwell. They have that tall, lean, imposing look about him.
Good choice. If he could pull off a German accent, that's not bad.
So
good job.
So cool, great idea. I really love this, and we've mentioned before this is one of our favorite movies, and I had a little bit extra time, so I was sitting there playing and wanted to join in. So thank you for letting me play your game.
I think Justin's better. I want him to cast it if we have a movie.
And I would actually get, God, I am completely spacing on names. The director we talked about earlier, Haywire, Ocean's 11, Soderbergh. Soderbergh, I think, would do a good job directing. But we don't have to cast directors. Anyway, so now, next week, Aaron, I want you to do the unthinkable, the impossible, the thing that you dread most. Mm-hmm. I want you to recast Indiana Jones
you can go fuck
and the
yourself.
Raider of the Lost Ark. I would like for you to cast Indiana Jones. I would like you to cast Marion Ravenwood. I would like you to cast Dr. Bellick. I would like you to cast Major Todt. And I would like you to cast Dr. Brody.
God damn you.
It's the impossible, but I want you to do it. And I want everybody to remember, you do not have to cast the same race or gender if you have got a really good reason why you think this other person could take that role and really make it their own and do a great job with it. So you don't have to just think within the confines of that age and color or whatever. Really, put it out there. But there you go.
Okay. Well,
Indiana Jones.
You have suggestions. Send them to feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com. Let's go to emails. Justin, you got the first one.
All right, and our first email is from Greg S. He says, the answer is 500 Days of Summer. Also, my opinion of Cloud Atlas. Initially, I had zero interest in the film until I heard you guys discuss it in a previous podcast. After that, I had more excitement for it than any film this year. I watched the film, loved it, but take a few issues with it. Tom Hanks' evil side manifesting as a big, ugly leprechaun was definitely one of them. I felt like the film was already asking me to suspend my disbelief in many ways, and this character would break that suspension every time he was on screen. I agree. Secondly, I felt the meaning of the film was pretty heavy-handed. I guess I just did not need the birthmark. It became redundant. I can agree with the birthmark thing too, but I don't think they were that heavy-handed with it. However, those issues aside, I felt the film was an important one in terms of its contribution to giving our audiences a different kind of storytelling experience, one that requires we all change our ways of thinking about film and storytelling conventions. I believe it will be remembered for years to come for that reason. Keep rocking. You guys are awesome, especially Justin.
Yeah, it doesn't say that last part.
It should have. I know he meant it.
Tammy on Twitter, she was commenting because we were talking about Alex Cross a couple weeks back. I think Michael J. White should have played Alex Cross, just my opinion. I also wish Hollywood would see Tyler Perry and Denzel aren't the only good black actors. I completely agree with you. I just wanted to mention it because it's a good point. Idris Elba. What's that?
Both their points are awesome. He would be a great Alex Cross.
He would be, yeah. And there are a lot of good African American actors. I still think Wesley Snipes is a great actor. I'm sorry he's in jail and he got stuck doing shitty action movies, but he's another one. When he gets out, whenever that is, cast him in something quality, man. He's a good actor. There's a lot of good African American actors out there. So, Scotty, your turn.
500 Days of Summer. Whoop, whoop, I'm on a roll, boys. I've come to listen and love your podcast so much that my husband now refers to y'all as your movie guys. We'll be talking about new movies, and my husband will say, what do your movie guys have to say about insert movie name? Then I'll launch into a recap of one of your reviews, talking about you all as if you were coworkers standing around the water cooler. Thanks as always for all you do. You're my favorite movie guys. I also love the outtakes this week. More rapping, please. Kristen D.
Wicka, 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 what? Wicka, what? Wicka, what? I just like hearing Scotty say y'all because it sounds so bad. Just bad.
He sounds so Yankee when he says it.
It does. And
Y'all.
we really hope you like our reviews. So you are fully aware that the RZA shouldn't have starred in Man with the Iron Fist. Justin, you got one more.
All right, 500. This one's from Gringo Sag, which is how I'm going to be pronouncing that until learn otherwise. 500 Days of Summer. I haven't been able to listen regularly, but have been trying to catch up. Clips have been pretty obscure anyway, so probably would have failed on every one of them. Sidebar, Scott really didn't know how to pronounce posthumously. Or was it hyphenated in the script and he didn't read it prior? Funny as shit. Star Wars, heck yeah. Imperial March looped on my playlist.
No.
Yeah, we gave Scotty a
You
little
couldn't
crap.
have cut that shit out of there, really?
He didn't know how to say it. You know what? Every
How
week.
did you pronounce it again? Remind us.
Posthumously.
Posthumously.
I've never heard the word said out loud. I've only read it in text. I've never
You've
heard
only
it
read
said
it
out loud.
posthumously?
I've never... Whatever, fuck you guys.
Fuck you guys. Make sure you stay through the credits for outtakes. You can always find them at the website, thehollywoodoutsider.com. I apologize for me infecting everybody. Facebook.com/The Hollywood Outsider. Email at feedback@thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Please tell your friends. That's how we grow. Subscribe on iTunes, Zune, Google Reader. Listen on your Stitcher Radio app. Give us a thumbs up if you do, or any plain old RSS feed. RockfordCollegeRadio.com, Thursdays from 4 to 6. I want to thank my fellow hoes, Brian Williams. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Hey, had fun, man.
Justin McCumber, host of the Dead Robot Society. It's a weekly podcast for aspiring writers, and a writer himself who wrote Haywire. Thanks, Justin, for being here.
Wu-chang cling.
And we'll see if his recasting the classics catches on. Remember, if you want to cast Indiana Jones, send us an email, and shame on you. And Scott Clark.
Posthumously.
Thanks, Scott, for being here. And also keep an ear out for our James Bond / Skyfall spoiler cast. It's going to be coming soon. Next week, we're going to be reviewing Skyfall, as well as a new From the Outside In topic, and more on the next Hollywood Outsider. So the next time you go to a theater, guys, buy popcorn. I like that classics idea. I didn't know you were going to give me fucking the best movie ever. And make me have
I told my wife I was going to do that, and she's like, no, don't do that. I'm like, no, fuck Aaron. He's doing this. He is going to cast this film.
Can I recast him with Harrison Ford?
No. If I'm going to start rapping more, I need more purple.
Obama won? What?
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, you know, the weekly paper just came out. Luckily, it comes out on Wednesdays around here. You know,
Can you
Mrs.
believe
Johnson,
that Afro?
Mrs. Johnson down at the switchboard filled us in a little bit earlier, though.
At
So
the switchboard.
No, do
man, just
Dracula.
fucking-
Yeah, do Dracula. Come on, do it.
okay, so like when you come to wait, no, that's like Jewish guy. I'm sorry,
Jewish Dracula.
Jaime. When you come to me with these movies,
Justin,
Yeah,
real quick, explain your thing so that they understand it clearly.
Well, it's about 8 inches long. It's got a girth of that size of a Coke can. And,
All right. Ooh. I'm not internationally known, but I'm known throughout the microphone because I get stupid. I mean outrageous.
Stay away from me if you're contagious, because
Yes.
I'm a winner.
Oh, that southern accent made it awesome.